Hello, everyone, from my side as well, and thank you, Lisa, for that lovely introduction. I'm really happy to be taking over for the CCTA portion of our event today. In case you don't know what CCTA stands for, it means Climate Change Theatre Action, and is a worldwide series of readings and performances of short climate change plays presented by Jalali to coincide with the United Nations COP meetings. CCTA uses theatre to bring communities together and encourage them to take local and global action on climate. Every other year, 50 professional playwrights representing all inhabited continents, as well as several cultures and indigenous nations, are commissioned to write 5-minute plays about an aspect of the climate crisis based on a prompt. This collection of plays is then available to producing collaborators such as Tinted this year, and those that are interested in representing an event during the project's time window. To emphasize the action part of climate change theatre action, collaborators are also urged to think about an action, for example, educational, social, or maybe political, that can be incorporated into their event. It is a very exciting event that has the power to unite communities, as well as people from all over the world. And we are very happy that tonight the Pennyless Players will be collaborating with us to bring 2 of these plays on stage, as well as that Professor Ilona M. Otto and Professor Maria Löschnigg are joining us for a brief discussion on how to tackle climate change in the different sciences. To begin with, I would like to introduce you to the Pennyless Players. They are a non-profit, non-professional English language theatre group, were founded in 2007 and are based in Graz. They perform full-length plays and focus also on improvisational theatre. Tonight, from the comfort of their homes, they will be performing 2 plays for us. The first one, starring Julian Linner and Corina Meitz, is Haeweon So This Is the Last Apple Pie, and Cecilia Servatius, who directed this play, is going to say a few more words for you.
Hello. So I just wanted to thank you all for this opportunity, and also to mention that as nice as it would be to focus on just one crisis at a time, we did have to slightly alter the text of our first play to reflect the other crisis that isn't the climate crisis that we're all dealing with. So I'll let my actors take it away from here.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, darling. I'm so sorry I'm late. I just got the pie out of the oven.
Looks great.
Yeah, so this is the last apple pie.
Did she make up her mind?
Yes, that's why this is the last one. Are you listening to me? Are you on your phone? No phones while we're on a call, remember?
Mom, I'm not a teenager anymore.
That's the house rule. Even if you're not physically at my house, the rule still stands. If you don't want to follow it, get your own house.
Ouch. You can't say that. It's not my fault I'm stuck at the dorms.
No phone.
Okay.
See ya!
Okay, sorry. You know, the stock market is frantic right now because of the government's New Deal announcement today.
Wow. So you're in the stock market now?
It's the only way to get my own house with my own rules. I'm way too late compared to my friends. I might get some Tesla stocks. Or what was your customer's company running that smart farm thing? Their stocks will definitely benefit from the Green New Deal.
You will never get your own house if you jump into the market now. Well, please put your phone away and have a chat with me before you have to go to work.
Okay. How's the pie?
It's fine. It's not what it used to be.
Oh, okay. Still wish I could taste it too. When are you leaving?
Tomorrow evening after work. I have a few projects to finish before.
Can I FaceTime you? It would be so nice to see Nana.
You have a job.
A temporary job. I'm honestly thinking of quitting. I can't see us beating that big old corporation. I sit in front of the window all day, looking for birds that will never come back, just to prove that the forest is worth protecting. Do they even care about our forest in that new deal?
Which bird?
Huh?
Which bird are you waiting for?
Skylark.
Oh, that one used to fly over Nana's orchard a lot when I was young.
Really?
But I don't see them anymore.
Why?
Pesticides. Probably pesticides.
But Nana doesn't use them, does she?
No, but many of her neighbors do. They don't seem to have a choice now.
I'm sorry Nana's closing down her farm. Wish I could go with you to support her.
I know. She'll understand.
I mean, she's had that farm forever. Is she okay?
I think so. She actually made up her mind a long time ago. She was quite determined to keep running her farm her own way. But since she refused to use antibiotics to keep her apples organic, she's had a hard time fighting the fire blight. And the fire blight only started happening when the spring season became too hot. And then the flood came. I think that flood 2 years ago was the last straw.
Yeah, that was unexpected. This year doesn't seem to be any better. Can't believe it's autumn weather.
Me neither. And the loss from this year's harvest was huge. But the new National Farmers Insurance covered her pretty well. I hope they don't change that in today's announcement. She never imagined that she would actually qualify for benefits when she signed up for the climate scheme. Well, who would have?
Just a few degrees. I really should have joined the other kids in the climate strike when I was younger.
No, I don't blame you. I shouldn't have stopped you. I'm sorry.
Don't say sorry to me. Mom, are we too late?
Well, for apples, yes.
I wish I'd learned how to make a pie before.
You will learn. And I believe, let's hope that we're not too late. When she saw the leaves turning black, Nana already knew this year's apples. She didn't tell you because she didn't want to let you down. The apples in the pie were almost white.
The beautiful red color had always been her pride. Is there anything I can do for her?
Just do your best with what you're doing now. Maybe give her a call sometime. Is it another stock market alert?
That's your phone, Mom.
Oh, sorry. That was your Nana. She says she's decided to sell her farm to the government. They're going to build a solar farm. That is amazing. I never thought she would actually...
Listen. Skylark. It came back.
Well, that was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much to the Pennyless Players. And it's really interesting how you improvised it with the circumstances that we're having right now. It was really, really enjoyable. Thank you. And because it was so great, I'm even more excited to announce that we also now have the second play. And it's directed by Deborah Siebenhofer and starring Leah Belshak, Simone Carli, and Valeria Mondini. And it is Faezeh Jalali's Fuck Off.
No.
Hey! Hey! This is my window, okay? The kitchen window is mine. The living room balcony is yours.
What's yours is mine.
Yeah, exactly. You stole the balcony from me, remember? But now when there is pleasure feed at the kitchen, you want the kitchen window. Shoo, shoo.
You can't shoo me. I'm a crow like you.
Go eat breadcrumbs on the balcony. You chose the balcony.
And now I want the kitchen window.
You can't have what you want when you want, especially after displacing others.
She's cooking chicken. I love chicken.
Fuck off! Go! 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 Go!
Hey! Shut up, both of you! Shoo! Shoo!
These crows always.
Hey! Get away from here! This place is mine.
Now it's mine.
This piece of meat flew straight into my plate. You go find yourself another home to scavenge at.
Well, I'm here now, and I'm going to take what I get.
That's pretty desperate.
Aren't we all desperate?
Yeah, but desperate enough to deny their fellow crows of what is rightfully theirs?
Where else in this neighborhood are you getting meat to eat, huh? Only a handful of people lucky enough to buy meat now that cow, chicken, and goat populations have dwindled.
I don't know.
You don't know because you always got lucky enough and got homes where meat was thrown at you every day. The rest of us are out here scavenging and getting rotten carrots at best.
Okay. No wonder the rest of the crows were circling. Oh, hey, shoot.
Hey, crows don't shoot other crows. It's bad etiquette. Besides, buddy, you're lucky the vultures and hawks have left the city or you'd have stiff competition here.
Yeah, those mothers are vicious, huh?
Yeah, now you only have the pigeons.
The stupid pigeons, they're vegetarian.
Oh, the pigeons are not stupid, don't be mistaken. They've adapted to becoming scavengers too, just like me and you.
Are you serious? What the fuck? Hey, what are we going to do?
It's bird world.
Damn you pigeons!
But you see, they have no brains left to eat, so they're looking for meat. Or, like I said, taking what they get.
Yeah, but I know. Now that I thought there were only crows left in the neighborhood.
There might be only crows left if we don't smarten up. We'll be feeding off each other's carcasses soon enough unless we move.
Move? Move to where exactly?
Papaya County. Laugh all you want. You will remain a scavenging crow, waiting for luck to throw you a piece of meat to fight over.
Yeah, papaya candy is the place to be.
Yeah, you know what? The fact is that it sounds like some stupid utopia where everyone is happy and there's plenty for all.
It's true, though.
Yeah, the rivers flow.
Clean and serene.
And farms don't have scarecrows.
Well, what are we doing here then?
Exactly what I'm saying. Let's get to the better place and rest.
And eat without having to fight for each single morsel.
I mean, how could there be a place without crows to scare?
Yeah, indeed, it's pretty peaceful out here.
Wanna take a trip there?
Well, actually, yes. Yeah. I think that I could go there and take over.
This is exactly why we never get invited.
Yeah, because of stupid crowds like you.
You stay here, wait for your small pieces of meat. I'm off with those who actually want to join me.
This is the one time I don't have to compete with the bullies of the sky, the hawks, the eagles, the vultures. I can rule.
I'm off. Who wants to join me?
Go, 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 go.
Absolutely incredible. You couldn't see it, but in the Zoom chat where all of us can see each other, the writers and the performers, it was just like, we really, really enjoyed that one as well. Thank you so much again to the Pennyless Players. It was just awesome to watch, even if it was over Zoom, sadly, but really awesome. So we have decided to incorporate a CCTA event into our reading this year because Tint Journal wants to be a part of tackling the issue of climate change through the arts. In the summer of 2021, we have organized a writing workshop and reading in cooperation with Wir sind lesenswert and the Breathe Earth Collective, titled Writers in Climate Crisis, where 6 Graz-based authors grappled with the greatest challenge of our time up close and personal with their cli-fi stories and eco-poems. We hope that Writers in Climate Crisis will return in 2022 as well. Furthermore, Tint Journal is also committed to publish climate change literature in our issues, which leads me right on to our next reader, whom we've invited today to perform her eco-poem published in our Fall 19 issue. Lisa Zeus is a German poet writing in English. She has been attempting to create poetry that is both profound and funny for the last 5 years. Lisa lives in Amsterdam, where she regularly attends courses and events of the International Writers Collective. Her daughter was born 2 years ago and keeps both inspiring and preventing her from writing. She will be reading her poem On an Island Far Away.
Thanks, Andrea. On an island far away, cliffs fall into the sea with the kind of beauty that's hard to cope with when you're an atheist. The only development are condos, etched into the wall by rabbits. Every summer, puffins move in after a winter at sea. Do the birds force out the rabbits with their red beaks? Or are the rabbits renting out the units, charging extra for burrows with a view of confetti bombs exploding from the rock? Thousands of gannets, white birds with black wingtips like soft ice cream dipped in chocolate. While I contemplate whether the rabbits are slumlords or victims of seasonal gentrification, I open a muesli bar. Dark chocolate, macadamia, cranberry. I marvel at the beauty and decadence involved in farming, harvesting, assembling those ingredients, just so a girl can pick up a package of 4 snack-sized bars for £2.40 at the supermarket and eat one on the edge of a windswept cliff. I carefully put the plastic wrapper in my pocket. 100 miles off this coast, an oil rig extracts black gold from the ocean floor. I walk along the cliff, the ground like a trampoline. A man walks by with a Tesco bag, nods, "You all right?" without expecting an answer. If I had said no, would he have opened his Tesco bag and fed me Walker's crisps, like a modern-day elf appearing to lost wanderers? I tally the number of puffins I spotted today. 9. A coping mechanism of our time, deprived of gods and elves. Counting, quantifying, organizing the world into snack-sized plastic packages. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Lisa. That was also very beautiful. Now, after these 2 plays and Lisa's poem, We would like to engage in a short discussion on the topic of climate change with two experts. We have Ilona M. Otto and Maria Löschnigg with us today. Ilona M. Otto works as a project coordinator at the Potsdam Institute for Climate Impact Research, and she holds a professorship in societal impacts of climate change at the Wegener Center for Climate and Global Change, University of Graz. She graduated a master's in sociology and obtained a PhD in resource economics. She's an affiliated scholar at the Resource Economic Group at the Humboldt University in Berlin and an associated fellow at the Berlin Workshop in Institutional Analysis of Social Ecological Systems, hosted by IRI Faezeh Institute at the Humboldt University in Berlin. Our second guest, Maria Löschnigg, is professor at the English department of the University of Graz. Her most recent publications include The Epistolary Renaissance, co-edited with Rebecca Schuh, 2018, The Anglo-Canadian Novel in the 21st Century, co-edited with Martin Löschnigg, 2019, Theatre of Crisis, Contemporary Aesthetic Responses to a Cross-Sectional Condition, special issue of the Journal of Contemporary Drama in English, co-edited with Nassim Balestrini and Leopold Lippert, 2020, and Green Matters, Eco-Cultural Functions of Literature, co-edited with Melanie Braunecker, 2020. Her long-standing research interests in ecological concerns is also reflected in a number of eco-critical articles on Canadian eco-poetry, Nigerian petro-literature, indigenous ecologies, and the general function of literature in environmental discourses, as well as in her teaching. Among the current projects are an introductory book on the Canadian short story for the Routledge book series, Introductions to Canadian Literature, and the preparation of a paper for the Short Forms for Shared World Symposium at the University of Uppsala in spring next year. Her keynote, In the Fissures Between Two Epochs, Doomsday Paralysis and/or Joining the Trilobites, which opened the conference Cultures in the Anthropocene, an Interdisciplinary Challenge, hosted by the University of Innsbruck in June this year, will come out in 2022. Thank you both for joining us today. And to start off, we've heard now a bit about your work, but it seems all very theoretical, just put into words like I did. But I would like to ask you to please introduce to us how you encounter and engage with climate change in your profession and research on a daily basis.
Should I start, or Maria, do you want to start?
I don't know. I mean, maybe we let Andrea decide.
Well, since I introduced Ilona first, please.
Okay. Yeah. So thank you for this nice introduction and giving me a chance to watch the performance and listen to the readings. Well, every day I do something related to climate change. It's a part of my job. But of course, there are those kind of two dimensions. Yes. So on one hand, it's my work. So I analyze data. Yeah. I do some interviews. I travel to some places where we have some project. We carry out some research. Well, it's been difficult in the last months. But for instance, like just to give you an example, last summer, I spent some time in the German Lusatia region, where brown coal is still extracted. And we have a project there on transforming brown coal areas in Europe. And we went there and had some small workshop with local stakeholders, and we interviewed different actors. So it's part of my work, and I try to see myself sort of like an objective scientist, and and I try to treat it as work and do it as well as I can, and also not try not to influence the results and data analysis. So kind of, be objective. But there's also this other side, kind of more emotional, and so I'm also a citizen, and a human, a parent, and and a few years ago when I got to the climate area, so first I was kind of curious, and then the more time passed, and the more I started to be involved in this work, I kind of put different pieces of knowledge together. So maybe like one very important point in my career, when I was working for a project funded by the World Bank, and our task was to write a report on the impacts of climate warming at a 4 degrees level. So sort of the assumption, what if we fail to limit global warming, and what happens if by the end of the century we'll get a global warming that is on the level like 4 degrees and more at the end of the century, and what it means for different economic sectors, like for agricultural production, for social stability, for also energy production, and then we put so it's like, maybe not everything, we don't know everything, even as scientists. So there are some unknowns, and there are some knowledge gaps. But if you put those pieces of knowledge together that you have, then you understand that probably like getting to those higher degrees of global warming, it's actually kind of the end of the civilization as we know it. Yeah, that maybe some people will be able to survive, but you cannot really imagine even agricultural production in such conditions, because it means like very high frequency of different climate extremes, so like heat waves, desertification, like land desertification, soil erosion, also floods, and like the frequency of different diseases, like in human health, but also diseases of crops and livestock, and then so maybe it's will be possible to produce food like in closed systems, like in greenhouses, but not in the way how we know it or how we do it today. And of course, if you start producing food in closed systems, so like in greenhouses, then of course the price of food will increase dramatically. So then it's quite obvious that you might sustain some the life of some people, but probably not 10 billion of people. That's the population projections towards the second part of the century. And the same about like energy production and maybe even kind of political stability. Yes, so it's quite also obvious that in those higher degrees of global warming, you won't be able to maintain political national borders, as we know it, because there will be massive population movements. People will not kind of passively wait to die in some areas, but they will start, or they have already started to move, and they will keep moving. So it was kind of a moment where I kind of understand what it means, and what kind of future it is, and it's and there's this there's this kind of like more emotional human side of this, and since that time I also try to engage in different projects, and I try to support different initiatives. I also engage sometimes in some art projects, because I think art is very important, because so we have those scientific facts, we know them, but it does not bring people to change, like to action. So I think art is very important, because it helps to that kind of appeal to our emotions and us as humans.
Okay. Thank you for that introduction. I think that would also perfectly lead to Maria and how she works with climate change in humanities.
Yeah, thank you very much, Andrea, for your kind introduction, and thank you, Ilona, for your wonderful input regarding sort of the scientific part. And you also mentioned the importance of the arts, and I think that's a wonderful starting point that we actually recognize each other, that the natural sciences and the social sciences also recognize on the other side what the humanities can do with regard to climate change, and of course that the humanities work more strongly with the other sciences. And in fact, I had a very good example of how this may bring productive results in the conference in Innsbruck, which was actually organized by the Department of Geography and Geology, but together also with the Romance languages. Yeah, so it was really connecting scientists from different fields, and for me it was really interesting to really get more input from other directions, and I think it has also been very valuable for my own perspectives and research. So what I do from my field, of course, has to do with the literary studies and cultural studies. I teach almost each semester, each year. I also teach courses on eco-literature, the Anthropocene, I have specifically focused on eco-poetry, what creativity can do in order to create a different form of awareness. Last summer term, as Andrea knows, we had a seminar on climate change, or actually eco-drama, and it was another Corona semester. So in fact, we had to do what happened here this evening. Students made wonderful scenic presentations and filmed them so that we could all sort of participate in these scenic presentations, which was a great asset to the coursework. And in general, I try to make it graspable what literature can do as a supplement to literature and the arts, actually, and the performative arts, but actually all other art forms, what they can do in order to supplement scientific discourses. And as Ilona has already said, the arts, of course, do things totally differently, and we already know what is happening. We have the data. We know that if we continue like this, there might be no life or no human life on Earth very soon. But on the other hand, it is a problem that is so gigantic. Yeah, it is the scale, the temporal and spatial scale of this problem is so unimaginable for human beings that it is a chance that literature can sort of break it down to make it graspable and tangible for human beings. Yeah, so literature, I think, is a very important mediator to close or approximate this knowledge action gap. Yeah, so it and especially climate change drama, for example, it also shows the interpersonal, intergenerational, social ramifications of climate change. Yeah, how it actually affects people on specific examples, which then, when you show it on a specific example, have this affective effect. Yeah, that makes you care. Yeah, when you see what happens to a certain family because this and that has changed environmentally, this touches you differently when you just see data and numbers, which are also important. Yeah, and interesting, especially in climate change drama, it is in most of the plays, or in a lot of the plays, you have a climate scientist. Yeah, so the climate scientist is almost a staple in climate change drama, and it's really a challenge for dramatists to, on the one hand, not giving the audience the feeling that they are being lectured. On the other hand, nonetheless conveying information. Yeah, so it's very difficult because you don't go to the theatre to be lectured normally. You want to be entertained. So you have dramatists and authors have to wrap it up in a way that makes it palatable. And I think we've had very good examples for that. Yeah. So because in the two plays, for example, we have this elegiac mode in the first play, the apple pie one, and it really shows it on very trivial things, actually. What changes? Yeah. So this when the mother says, "Yeah, we used to do, and it used to be better." So you have this narrative of loss, whereas in the other play we have this another challenge in climate and ecodrama in general. How do we represent the non-human? In that case, animals. Yeah, so having the crows here as actors was a very good way to show analogies between species and thereby introduce the thought of ecological democracy, for example. And we also had it in all the readings, yeah, but I don't want to take up all the speaking time, but in all the readings, in all the texts, you could see what literature can do by imagining certain scenarios and by showing that creativity is in itself an ecological principle, yeah, because it works with possibilities. Yeah, I want to close that now.
I would actually like to take your last statement to segue into the next question, because you were talking about how climate change drama can mediate to a general public, for example, how climate change affects all of us. But I would be interested in how can we as academics, as scientists, as researchers also mediate climate change to the general public and not just to our own little community?
Yeah, are you asking me now?
I'm asking both of you.
Okay. So, Ilona, would you like to start again?
Yes,
I don't know, since
right.
I've talked so long now.
Yeah, I can start. Yes, so I think it's important to take part in different events, just like this, to talk to neighbors, to talk to different also stakeholders. So we try to increase it at the Wagner Center, to increase the role of transdisciplinary science. So it's a science that it's not only done among researchers, but also science that reaches out to stakeholders. We're also stakeholders, so kind of real decision makers, citizens and organizations, also representatives of business and environmental organizations, or all kinds of governmental organizations, that they are part of the process of the research process. Yeah? I think it's important to have those kind of participatory approaches and to in a way to let people be a part of this research. Yeah, because I think it's very important. Yeah? If me as a scientist designs some future possible development scenarios, like for instance for this Lusatia region in Germany, I think with exclusion of local stakeholders, I think people will not will be kind of against it. Yeah, but if the local stakeholders are part of this process, and they can say what is important for them, what kind of future they desire. And then we work with them and implement their ideas in our work. I think then they feel like they are part of this, and it's more likely that they will, kind of follow our recommendations. So that's the approach that we have, and I think that helps to kind of get out of this scientific bubble. But of course, also some kind of maybe not. Maybe kind of more negative sides. Yeah, so one of those issues that, for instance, like to have kind of like more established scientific career, this kind of transdisciplinary work does not pay off. Yes, so as a scientist, you are rewarded by scientific publications, maybe also by teaching, by presentations at scientific conferences. but there's no kind of direct reward from the work with stakeholders. It's slowly changing, but it's still difficult. So if you want to have kind of like standard academic career, it's a bit difficult to exactly like build your career on this kind of transdisciplinary work. But I think it helps, to talk with different types of persons to engage and also try to understand the arguments of the other side. So this is what at least I try to do.
Yeah, I can only agree because there are a lot of things I would like to say actually overlap with what Professor Otto says or has just said. But first of all, of course, I can do most through my academic work. I mean, that's my job, and in my job and through my job, I try to reach as many people with what I do with regard to creating awareness for the problems of the Anthropocene. And I wouldn't even say it's just a small community. Yes, it is. I mean, it depends on what you compare it with. But we actually teach a lot of teachers. Yeah, we teach a lot of future teachers who bring what they learn from us, what they experience here at university, bring it to schools. So they sort of spread it on to children, and they in turn will actually take it home to their families. Yeah, so it's not really a bubble. It's definitely also an exchange. And apart from this, of course, I also try to be in dialogue with a lot of different groups, and not just with the sort of the university context, and try to, in general, try to open up venues that take us out of this other danger, namely this doomsday fatigue, which is actually, especially now with the additional crisis due to the pandemic, which is very omnipresent. Yeah, that people are just pessimistic and rather tending to go in that direction that it's too late anyway, and so I don't care. It's the show is over. Things like that. Yeah, so that you try to make it clear that the more you fall into this chronic pessimism, the more actually the more it is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah, so it is important to devise new ways of seeing things, also to help people to adapt to different scenarios, to make the scenario that our life as we live it now is probably outdated. Yeah, that we really have to think new models of living. And here, of course, literature is a wonderful source field. Yeah, it's sort of a source pool of possibilities from which we can draw. And so, of course, from my field of literary studies, I try to draw attention to this and discuss it with students, but also with other people. Yeah, what possibilities there are from this side to change the whole attitude towards the environment and actually also towards our future. It's definitely not a matter of, okay, we want to live as we used to live, because that's definitely not possible. Yeah, so it's this getting used to different modes of living, which has to be conveyed, and there are different possibilities for this. And of course, my strongest venue is in literary and cultural studies, and outside, of course, with how I live and interact. That's another thing, but it's equally important, of course.
Okay, well, thank you so much. There's actually a lot more I would have loved to ask, but unfortunately, we've run out of time already. But I think you've picked up a few really good points and gave a great overview. And thank you so much for attending today and for talking to us. And I'm going to get back to Lisa now, so we can continue on with the Tinted Tales part of Tinted Tales. But thank you so much again to the Pennyless Players, to Lisa Zeus for coming today and performing her eco poem, and to the two of you as well for having this interesting conversation with us.